Hi. Did Miss Johnson send you? Yeah, I'm Sydney. And you need help with pathophysiology? I know, it's a mouthful. But don't worry, it's really not too difficult of a class, but it's a building class. You have to understand ground zero in order to climb up. You know what I mean? The class continually builds on itself. So today, I was hoping that maybe you and I could go over the basics. Yeah, okay. So tell me what you know about patho. Okay, that's a short list. Let's just start. What even is pathophysiology? Pathophysiology is basically diseases. How do people get sick? And then they study it. So pathophysiology is the study of how people get sick. That's kind of the basic terms of it. And in order to understand how people get sick, we have to start at the very root of the problem, which is our cells. Our cells are awesome, they're amazing. Our DNA and our genes and our chromosomes and our organs, everything works together to make you. And of course there are things that can go wrong because it's such a complex system. If one little thing goes wrong, everything falls apart. So I have a list of about 20 terms that I think you and I are going to go over, and if you can understand all of these by the end of this video, you're literally a pro. You're going to pass your first quiz, I guarantee it. And yeah, let's begin. So I'm going to start off easy. Everyone should know this. 5th graders know what this is. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? I want you to define homeostasis. So homeostasis is basically just when all the organs in the body work to find a certain balance. It does not happen by accident, it happens purposefully. So homeostasis is a balance. It's, if you're too hot, then your homeostasis is kind of like, oh, I'm too hot. If you're too cold, and the homeostasis is trying to, make you shiver, make you, warm up your body, blow into your hands, trying to maintain homeostasis. And again, this doesn't happen by accident. The body works to do this. We're going to learn a little bit about how cells react to certain things. I'm going to use kind of basic terminology just so that you can understand what it means. You can't go into advanced until you understand basic. So we're going to learn about atrophy. Atrophy is basically when the cells get smaller. And you might be asking, well, Sydney, why do they get smaller? They get smaller because of many reasons, but one of the main reasons is because of misuse or disuse. Well, I can actually read you a little bit. When confronted with a decrease in work demands or also environmental conditions, most cells are able to revert to a smaller size and a lower and more efficient level of functioning that is compatible with its survival. This decrease in cell size is called atrophy. Now, of course, if something can get smaller, it can also get bigger, right? So, we have hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is the opposite of atrophy. It gets larger. So when you go to the gym and you get your big old Mr. Mrs. muscles, you're doing hypertrophy. The cells get larger. Now what goes also with this is that the cells demand more oxygen, more blood. So you have to be able to maintain that as you continue. Another thing that can cause atrophy is if you have a cast. So this is very popular actually. When I had a cast, my wrist got a little bit smaller because I broke my wrist when I was 8. That's because of the disuse. You don't use it as much, so the cells get smaller. But if you use something a lot, the cells get bigger. Alright, the next thing that we're going to learn is called hyperplasia. So I think you're noticing a bit of a theme. Hypertrophy, hypothyroidism, like hyper. It is elevated. It is growing. It is almost too much. It is more. So when you hear hyperplasia, you already kind of know it's too much of something. And then plasia means growth. So it's too much growth or more growth, not necessarily too much. So hyperplasia is basically when, so you got 3 cells, right? And instead of them getting smaller or instead of them getting bigger, they start producing more cells. So hyperplasia refers to an increase in the number of cells in an organ or tissue. Now we're going to go on to the next one, which is metaplasia. So we know it's a growth because it says plasia. Metaplasia is basically when a cell changes, and generally because of a disturbance. So something is bothering the cells, and it changes so much over time, kind of like an evolutionary manner, into a different cell. So you might start off with a simple layer of cell, and then by the end of it, it is not simple anymore. It's more stratified, or it's columnar. It can change shape, size, but mainly it's like shape. Still obviously the cell. But something that can happen because of this, and it's not good. DYS is dis. It stands for something that is bad, abnormal, not good. So then you have dysplasia. This is abnormal growth. This is no bueno. It can happen because of inflammation, an irritant, something chronic. We don't want this. No good. Another term to know is hypnoxia. Hypnoxia is when you have a low amount of oxygen in your blood. We don't want this. Oxygen fuels all the cells in the body. We need oxygen to live. So hypnoxia, no good. And something you might have already heard of before, when you're like, well, what the heck is this, Sydney? I don't know what this is. What the heck is a free radical? That sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Think of free radicals as robbers. They are robbers inside of your body. They are stealing energy from all the other cells. And you want to know why? Because they're jealous. They don't have a partner in their outer shell. So they're constantly looking for more outer shells. And this is actually really bad for your body, but everyone has them, and that's okay. But something that you can do to lower your free radicals is eat more antioxidants. So more vegetables, more leafy greens. No to free radicals. Bad guys. I have a question for you. What is aptosis? What is it? What do you think it is? Aptosis. Apoptosis is basically cell suicide. Very sad. It is a programmed cell death. It's when the cell has the realization to realize that it is going to die soon, it's damaging everyone else, and it basically denies itself life. Necrosis. Necrosis is very simple. It's just dead tissue. Now I have a question for you. Do you think that you can, if you have necrosis and you give it a bunch of oxygen, will those tissues come back to life? The answer is no. Necrosis, too late. It's gone. It's dead. And generally, dead tissue necrosis is black. So, if I have dead skin on my hands, then it will be completely black, kind of like coal. Sorry, that song is very stuck in my head. Let me know how you're feeling. You feel like you have a grasp on it? If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit about the correlation between your immune system and stress. Now, of course, there's good stress and there's bad stress. Eustress is good stress, de-stress is bad stress. You might be thinking, Sydney, why? How could stress be good? Sometimes stress is good because it is a motivation to get things done. For example, this quiz that you have, you're a little stressed out right now, and you're trying to prepare yourself for this quiz, and it's kind of motivating you. It motivated you to come to me, right? And that's good. And you're going to take the quiz, and you're going to do just fine as long as you take notes and listen to me. and then the next time you have a little bit less stress. So there are good stresses in life, and that's called eustress, E-U-S. And then there's de-stress, which is obvious. It's bad. It doesn't do anything positive for your body. It's completely negative. And something that I think everyone kind of knows, but if you don't, stress weakens your immune system big time. And I'm going to talk about why that is. So we have something called a hypothalamus, which is in the brain. And when you're stressed, your body releases something called adrenaline, the hypothalamus does. And this does 4 things. It raises the blood pressure of the patient, of the person. It raises the heart rate. It raises the glucose levels in the blood. And it also raises the glucose levels in your brain. Not good. We don't want that. But because of this, you need more. You need more help. Your body needs, it just needs more blood. It needs more oxygen. But it has a lower capability of helping you because of the adrenal glands they're on top of your kidneys. They release cortisol, and cortisol, it stops the release of a lot of important things in your body, like growth hormones, reproductive hormones, and sometimes it actually releases more hormones that you don't need. So it's just all one big confusing mess. You don't want it. If you're feeling sick, if there's something going around, try to get help. Studies have shown again and again and again that having a social group, having a friend, having someone that you trust, that you can lean on, that will lower the amount of stress. For example, last night I was really sad. I was having a hard time, and my roommate came in, and then she started talking to me, and automatically I was good again. I didn't have a sad thought again that night. So people are really important, and lean on them to help with your stress. And of course, there are many other ways to counteract stress and, cope with it. And there are bad ways to cope with it too. Like people who suffer from PTSD often resort to alcohol. And yes, it numbs some of the symptoms that they're going through, but at the same time, they lead into alcoholism. So leaning on things that are don't involve any medications or drugs, like massage therapy, therapists, trying herbal teas, really trying things that are healthy and can help you with your stress is really important. Also, the flight or fight response, I'm sure you've heard that before. That goes into your brain when cortisol and adrenaline releases from the body. Alright, we're going to talk about something called gene expression. Gene expression is basically when a gene shows its characteristic. So I have brown hair. So the brown hair gene, on my chromosomes, whatever you want to call it, the alleles, they are being expressed. And now I have brown hair, but any other genes that I might have, if I have blonde, if I have a recessive trait, like blonde hair, let's say my mom's great-grandma had blonde hair, but it's been recessed and hasn't been able to show throughout the generation of growth in the family, I might have a blonde gene within me. And when I have kids, they might have blonde hair. If my partner, my spouse, they also have a blonde recessive trait. That is really confusing, but this is a really great way to illustrate this. If you search up gene expression and Punnett squares, it makes a lot better sense. So I encourage you to do that, and I'll even link some Quizlets down below that I have made that will help you. Alright, my folks, I think you know some of the basics, very, very basics, of stress and adaptation, and some of the cell works. There's a lot more, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a dose and let you soak that in. Soak it in. Studies have shown time and time after again that learning in little bits over time, like little bites of a pie, you build your way up. But if you do a lot in one day, your brain's not going to be able to process all that. So there's your tidbit for today. Learn it, get a tattoo of it, and good luck, my friend. If you you have any questions, let me know, and I will try my best to help you. Good luck on your quiz. Okay. I hope you do really well. And tell Miss Johnson I said hello. Okay. Okay. I hope you have a good night, by the way. Okay.